Defending champs go back-to-back. The Troy Trojans heading back to the NCAA Tournament with a 77-61 victory over Georgia Southern. Let's talk about it next. Locked on Sunbelt.
You are Locked on Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked on Sunbelt, your team every day. Today's episode, which will be our second of three, I guess, actually our third of four, technically, is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right, in this episode, we're just going to concentrate on the game. We'll do coaching stuff in tomorrow's episode. All right. So we'll just handle this one here for the game, and we'll talk about it. And if you guys have comments, feel free to jump in. All right. So Troy wins this ball game. Let's admit it, rather handily, 77-61. No pat on the back. I thought Troy was the best team going in. They end up being the best team. And they catch a break when they're playing a team playing their sixth game in 6 days. All right. So kudos to the Georgia Southern Eagles. I know they didn't win a championship, but they had the most exciting week without winning the championship. So they gave it their all. They actually scored the first bucket, kind of a little bit of a slog midway through this first half, but then Troy pulled away. But yet, right at the beginning of the half, Georgia Southern went on a 9-1 run. Right, they cut a 13-point lead down to 5. In fact, it may have gotten down to 4. I put it in the Discord. I may have had it wrong in the Discord. They got it down to 39-35. And they were in the ballgame, right? They were right there, but they couldn't quite catch up. And Thomas Dowd actually had maybe one of his better games this season, period. He's always kind of a stats sheet stuffer, as Clark Kellogg would say. But he had 23 points, played 39 minutes, 8 of 12 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line, 13 rebounds, did have 6 turnovers, 3 assists. All right. So he had a really solid game, but it's been a minute since he's done something like that, I believe. Just paying attention a little bit. I mean, let's see points. He did score 22 points against ULM with 11 rebounds. That was also, that was the last game of the regular season. All right. But a lot of 4 for 9 shooting, 2 of 10 shooting, 4 of 13 shooting, 4 of 11 shooting, 1 of 8, right? 1 of 13, 4 of 12, 4 of 10. So not the most efficient over the last few weeks. Tonight he was efficient and explosive. And he led the way for Troy again. 8 out of 12 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3. So Thomas Dowd, huge ball game for the Troy Trojans. Had some help. Certainly didn't do it on his own. Jarrell Bellamy with 15 points on 7 of 11 shooting. I mean, Troy almost shot 60%. How impressive is that? 59%. And Cross's kid hit a couple of shots. He had 5 points, including he hit a 3-pointer. Victor Valdez, kind of a Victor Valdez kind of night. 12 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. They did have a bunch of turnovers. The turnovers, I guess, kept Georgia Southern in it. They did turn the ball over 16 times to 17 assists. I guess that doesn't really matter, although it'll give Scott Cross something to coach about for next week. Kobe Campbell, 4 of 5. Cooper Campbell, 4 of 6. So the starters, were ridiculous. The team shot 59% as a whole. The starters missed 3, 4, and 4. Is that 11? And 13 shots. The starters missed 13 shots. They made 12, 19, and 8, 27. So they were 27 to 40. Doing that quick math. My understanding is that there would be no math. The starters shot, if that math is right, 68%, 67.5%. That's insane. That's insanity. Let's see if the 40 is right. 19, no, I'm off by 1. 19 and 11 is 30. So 41. All right. Did I miss 14 shots? They missed 3. They missed 4. That's 7. 11. Oh, I'm sorry. Cooper Campbell missed 2. That's where I got it wrong. Okay, so it is 27 divided by 41. They still shot 66% from the floor. The starters. You're just not going to beat teams that shoot that well, and even more so, better from 2, because 5 out of 17 they missed. Think about this. They missed 21 shots total. 12 of them are from 3. So anything in close to the basket, they were really good. All right. They didn't shoot it well from 3. Georgia Southern did not shoot it well from 3. Where'd my Georgia Southern was 8 of 28, and that's an improvement on what they were. Troy was just 5 of 17. Georgia Southern made all 15 of their free throws. That kept them in it. Troy missed a handful, 12 out of 17. Points off of turnovers. Georgia Southern actually outscored them 15-9. Here's the deal. Rebounding. 35 to 18. All right. And so that's the big spot. Thomas Dowd got a lot of those. In fact, he got most of them. And then, I mean, nobody else had more than 4, but they were all the Campbell brothers combined for 5. Bellamy had 3. Valdez had 4. Keel hit a big 3-pointer to stop a Georgia Southern run, and that was his only points of the game. And he had 3 rebounds. That's where the tired legs came up empty to begin with. All of those rebounds. They only got 5 offensive rebounds to Troy's 11 offensive rebounds. So they had 2 second chance points, whereas Troy had 11. Interestingly, Georgia Southern, 22 points off of 19 points off the bench to Troy's just 8. But points in the paint, Troy had 50 points in the paint out of their 77, out of the 22 of Georgia Southern. They had a great game plan, and they executed it well. As Scott Cross is looking like he's going to move on to Georgia Tech potentially, or whatever the case may be, even when it happened, the events that unfolded for Scott Cross, right? He got let go by UTA, and I think there was a year in there, let me see, where he didn't do anything, but then let's just look up Scott Cross. But then the Troy job just happened to open up, and that's just an easy hire for the former AD over Troy, who now happens to be at Georgia Tech. That's why those things are like that. Let's see here. So, yeah, he did go to TCU for a year. I think he was under Jamie Dimon. So he got let go he went to UTA, played at UTA, assistant at UTA, got let go because they had like the best player in the league, but I think he got hurt and they didn't win the tournament. So they tossed Scott Cross aside. Oops. Goes to TCU for a year and then ends up at Troy. And took a little bit, right? It took a little bit because I called a game at Troy in 20, and I'm pretty sure he was there then. Let's see here. He got there in 19. That's probably when it started. I would have called a game in 20. Right. That was COVID year, but obviously it wasn't done yet because it happened around the COVID stuff happened around the tournaments. But what happened was they were unveiling the Tony Robichaux statue in Lafayette, and Jay Walker wasn't missing that. He asked me to cover the game, or cover the game. So it was the Cajuns were taking on Troy that year. And again, tough couple of years, but he's a good coach. And we knew he was a good coach at UTA. He's a great coach at Troy. He's going back to the NCAA tournament, and we'll see what happens from there. Now, remember, Mark Byington, and this all happened fast, and I found it funny because I think Shane Metlin was driving back, right? They played in Madison Square Garden, right? They beat Wisconsin in Madison Square Garden before losing to Duke, I think, right? And he's driving back the next day, and Byington is announcing people are announcing that he's going to Vanderbilt. So we'll see how quickly this gets done if he is going to Georgia Tech. Again, you want to keep that as quiet as possible. Again, Craig Stevenson from Mail.com asked and said, we're going to concentrate on this first. We'll worry about that later. All right. We do have a comment. Is there any news on Theo Sank's possible availability for the tournament? I did ask Matt Stewart that for the Sun Belt, and he kind of sloughed it off because we had Matt Stewart on. I was still in, this is how long ago it was. It was a week ago. I recorded it for Monday while I was in Louisiana. He's like, well, they don't really need him until Sunday. Well, he didn't play Sunday or Monday, right? And so we'll see if Theo's saying, we'll probably get a word on that here rather quickly. We still have, 10 days before they're going to play. As long as they're not playing in, right? They're not going to play until next Thursday or next Friday, right? If it's a play-in, which would be an advantage for them, I would think, if teams are not playing in the tournament this week. They got another long rest, right? I mean, let's talk about that when we come back. How many games Troy will play here in the last couple of weeks? Because it's not very much. All right, we stumbled onto something. All right, and we'll get back to the game here as well. Let me take a timeout. Let me tell you about Robinhood and TurboTax, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about more Troy winning the championship and playing in the NCAA tournament. All right, hang tight. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures, commission merchant, and swap firm. And TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a whole lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Let me tell you, before we go on and talk about Troy in the NCAA tournament, about the Everydayer Club, we did go into Discord here today. All right. So we're going to start doing that probably with some baseball, or more so now with baseball. If you've ever been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, now is the time. You get ad-free shows And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into our Everyday Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. Should be a lot of fun. Right now, you can use code MARCH to get your first month for free. Head to lockedonsunbelt.supercast.com. That's lockedonsunbelt.supercast.com, or tap in the link in the show notes. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. All right, so Troy, obviously, as a semifinalist, the final game was Friday in the regular season. Now they didn't play again until Sunday. Okay. So they were off from getting a calendar out here is a must. So their last game before the tournament was Friday the 27th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they have played 2 games in 10 days. Now, we'll just say, for the heck of it, they'll get into the regular tournament. They won't have to do play-in, all right? So they're playing Thursday or Friday. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. They're almost going to get 3 weeks, play 3 games in 3 weeks. Oh, they are going to be well rested. They played 2 games here. They played them both well. They did catch a couple of breaks. I don't have a problem saying that, right? It's not their fault, but they played a Southern Miss team that was playing their 4th game in 4 days. And they played a team playing their 6th game in 6 days, right? If you're going to tell me that Seattle caught a break, or I guess the Patriots catching a break back in the Super Bowl to get to the Super Bowl, then Troy caught a break. But you know what? It's not going to say that on the trophy. It's not going to say that on a ring, right? That they, Troy 2026 Sun Belt champions because we played 2 tired teams. That's the way the ball bounces. All right. Having said that, they played well twice. They were in control of that Southern Miss game for the most part, and they were in control of this game from the get-go. All right. It was 3-0, and then it was 10-3. Again, that slog was around 14-8, and then Troy started to pull away. All right. Georgia Southern made 1 run at the beginning of the second half, and that was it. So they're going to be a rested basketball team. All right. And apparently what Scott Cross did had them ready, did they get to the semifinals last year? Yes, I'd have to go back because I don't think they were. I thought they were on the other side of South Alabama. I thought Arkansas State beat South Alabama. I have to go back and look. But obviously he knew what he was doing, getting ready for this. And it worked. And so that's where the big deal is. Now that you can rest a couple of days, enjoy a championship. All right. You don't know who you're getting ready for, right? But it's Monday. So they'll probably enjoy Tuesday and then probably get a practice in on Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys shoot around on Tuesday anyways. Just go to the gym. It doesn't have to be a long time. You can go all Kurt Signetti, right? It can be for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. We don't have to run a 2-hour practice. We're just going to break a sweat. These guys work out all day, every day anyways. All right. And so they're going to do that. And then they will have gotten their practices in, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Give them the weekend off. Then they find out who they're playing Sunday, and then they can probably have a practice Sunday evening. Wouldn't be surprised if they did that, right? Because there's a good chance that this is going to be they're playing a top seed. Let's see if we can see bracketology here. All right, let's see where potentially they got him going, just for the heck of it. All right. By the way, Lenardi has Auburn in again. I mean, that's just a joke. All right. Let's see here. I Troy is actually, how about this? They actually have Troy playing Alabama as a 14 seed and Alabama as a 3 seed. How about that? That's not bad. And that's in, is it? You know what? I don't presume. I don't know. It says Greenville, but that could be South Carolina or North Carolina. Let's see here. NCAA regional hosts basketball. Let's see. Preliminary rounds is Greenville, South Carolina. See, and it could have been either one. For those who don't know, East Carolina is in Greenville, North Carolina. BMW, for what it's worth, used to be, I think it's still there, is in Greenville, South Carolina. All right. And I don't think Greenville is all that far away from Clemson, as a side note, in South Carolina. But that's where that is. So they actually have Troy playing Alabama. That'd be fun, since Alabama won't play Troy to begin with. Well, maybe Alabama would. Maybe they do. Auburn doesn't. But maybe Alabama. I don't know if Nate Oates has played. I know Nate Oates had a home and home with Richie Riley. All right. Bruce Pearl brought Auburn down, and I think they went back up to Auburn. So they're doing that. So think about that Troy could play their third game. Their first game in the NCAA tournament is going to be their third game in 3 weeks. They'll be well rested. And based on what we've seen the last 2 nights, Scott Cross will have them ready as well. All right, let's take one more timeout. We'll come back and recap more of the Sun Belt Championship. Let me see if there's any comments in here before we go here. Nope, we don't know about Theo saying. We'll see if that gets answered post game or not. I'm sure Josh Boutwell, the beat writer, will have more information on that as well. All right, so let's take one more timeout. We'll come back and wrap things up. We'll be on here for another 10 minutes or so. All right, but I do need to tell you about FanDuel and 5 Hour Energy. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night, from early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts. There's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your need. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential play out. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season, and it's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to get started. Play your game. I did pick Troy 80-68 to win that game. They would have covered. You would have covered. And 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. And I've got my number one pick for the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. I'm going this time? I'm going grape. Concord grape flavor, similar to grape juice or candy, soft, rounded sweetness, smooth, almost syrup-like fruit profile, consistent, straightforward taste, classic purple candy style finish. If I'm going off the board, if I'm taking a flyer, you guys know where I'm going. It's sour apple. That apple bites back. A crisp, tangy taste, deliciously tart, bold, a little sweet, and a lot sour. Find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. That's 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. It is going good. We have some people tuning in. We appreciate you guys hopping aboard. Troy beats Georgia Southern 77-61. Going over the stats again, Thomas Dow, 23 points, 8 of 12 shooting, 13 rebounds. He was outstanding. The Campbell brothers combined for 19 points on 8 of 11 shooting. Outstanding. Bellamy had 15 on 7-11 shooting. And Victor Valdez, he's the one who struggled. Well, not more than the others, I guess. 4 out of 7 for 12 points. And again, by my math, the starters were 27 of 41 from the floor. That's about a 66 percentile shooting percentage. The team shot 59% as it was. They even shot 60% in the second half. For Georgia Southern, Spud Webb with 2 Ds, 16 points on 5 and 11 shooting. Tyron Moore, actually from Louisville, just found that out from my nephew DeSamo. 10 points, 3 out of 11 shooting. 2 of 7 from 3, but he had such a great tournament. Just when he have a 40-point night, was it last night? No, it was a couple of nights ago. He was tired against Marshall. It was against Coastal Carolina. 16 out of 27, 7 out of 14 from 3. He was outstanding throughout this tournament. Tyleik Weeks and Tyron Moore, in losing efforts, really played extremely well for their respective clubs. Let's see here. Bernie, who had such a big night against Marshall, 6 points. Oh, it was 3 of 4, but only had 3 rebounds. What was he last night? Like 12 and 11. So he had a big night. White came off the bench, 11 points, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Again, so this is very strange. Only Thomas Dowd had a lot of rebounds in this game. He had 13. Victor Valdez had 4. And Kublai had 4 for Georgia Southern. Nobody else had any more than that. Not one single player. So it was a very odd game in that respect. All right. And they got out rebounded. Georgia Southern got out rebounded 35 to 18. All right. I'll be the first to tell you, we'll just talk about Alabama here for a second. I hadn't seen Alabama at all. Used to follow them, being in Mobile. Big fan of Nate Oates, by the way. That's the way Georgia Southern plays. Oh, all right. That's the same thing. Charlie Henry was I don't know if he's a Nate Oates disciple, but he was a Nate Oates assistant. That's for sure. All right. And he's got this job. And I forgot to mention this. They did mention this on TV. Started 0-12. They've gone from 0-12 3 years ago to championship game in the Sun Belt. That's pretty good. All right. I mean, that's outstanding. And if you can take what he did at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season and bottle that, they got good things going on in Georgia Southern. All right. Because guys like to play, they like to shoot, and they like to go to the rim and dunk. All right. You get fouled, you get up the points. That's a great style of play. Now you got to convince them to come to Statesboro, which is a classic Southern college town. All right. And the future looks bright for Charlie Henry and Georgia Southern. All right. Troy is going to the Sun Belt Championship, or won the Sun Belt Championship again. They're going to the NCAA Tournament again. All right. Now, the future may be in the air for Troy because Scott Cross, rumors about going to Georgia Tech. I don't know if anybody else is coming calling, but again, former AD at Troy is now the deputy AD at Georgia Tech. So that's where those stories start. And so I presume, I don't know this to be the case, as a professional, and just because I think Scott Cross is a good guy, and I would think that the former AD doesn't want to leave Troy in the lurch, so they may know these things are going on. All right. And I don't know if that's technically tampering, but I'm sure there's some professional courtesy going on. All right. And so now Troy is putting their list together for who may we want to have, because you can move very quickly in these things, and they tend to get hired incredibly quickly. I mean, it always has to pass the board, but that's a formality. That's later. Mark Byington got Vanderbilt the next day. So I don't know if they were talking to him after they lost to Duke, whatever. All right. EJ, I think Thomas Dowd is the leading rebounder in the Sun Belt. and one of the leading rebounders in the nation. All right, well, let's see if we got the leading rebounders in the nation. Let me see. We can check that out quickly. Let's see here. Basketball, men's stats. Let's see here. Do we rebounds per game? He's not in the top 10, but that doesn't mean anything. Let's see here. He's 15th. Yeah, pretty good. 10.1. Let's see if he is if that is the top rebounder in the Sun Belt. I wouldn't be surprised if he is the top rebounder. He's always, again, he's a stat sheet stuffer. When I was saying that he was playing really well tonight compared to it wasn't a very efficient shooting of the ball, although it tends to get to the free throw line and make shots there. Let's see here. All games. No, I'm not sure. I wanted the PDF, but that's what I got. Let's see here. Field goal percentage. That's rebounding. We got teams. Now we need individuals. Let's see what we got here. Still going with the team stats. Individuals. Thomas Dowd. Yep. Just over 10 points, 10 rebounds a game. Yep. What did he average? Was he top 20 in scoring? He was not. That's a little surprising. All right. And actually, Talik Weeks finished. That's probably. So Talik Weeks finished as the leading scorer because he had more games than Chase Harris did. And he had those big ball games in the averaging like 30 points in the conference tournament. All right. So that's a good call by EJ. Thanks for pointing that out. All right. That's a good call by you. And Thomas Dowd had a fabulous game. What was it? 23 and 13? 23 and 13. All right. I mean, he had 13 rebounds. The rest of the team had 22. Georgia Southern had 18 rebounds. Thomas Dowd had 13 rebounds. Really impressive. All right. And so now we wait until Sunday. All right. We get all week long to watch the other conferences play. I like that. So if I like one part, does that mean I have to like the other part? I like that Troy is 14th. I'm not sure why they're 14th, but that's where Lunardi has them. Okay. Because Auburn should not be getting into this basketball tournament unless they win the SEC. I don't want to hear about their hard schedule. They're not a very good basketball team. All right. They have some nice wins, but they have some bad losses too. So I don't want to hear about that. All right. We're all going to be rooting for, we want chaos. I don't know what rooting for Akron does outside of how do you not put in a 31-1 team in Miami of Ohio, but we'll see how that goes. I presume that Miami of Ohio is getting in. Even Bruce Pearl says Miami of Ohio is getting in. And, he thinks Akron is the best team in the conference. They've had some close losses. We saw that coming in. They struggled against Buffalo twice. And when they came in to play Marshall, it was all Miami of Ohio, right? And that was on the road, right? That game was not particularly close. So it is what it is. All right. I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to record the actual episode for tomorrow. We do have a coaching change at ULM. We do not have a coaching change at Texas State, as it turns out. And then we'll look at midweek baseball games as well. We'll, of course, start off tomorrow's episode recapping this ball game. Troy defeats Georgia Southern 77-61. The Trojans are back-to-back Sun Belt champions. We mentioned it had been a minute, right, since Georgia Southern. I'm sorry, I get that. Georgia State had done that a few years back. They had actually won 3 out of 4 at one point. And before Georgia State did it, it was Western Kentucky. And that was BS before Schultz started covering the Sun Belt in the 2013-2014 season when the Cajuns happened to win it. All right, and beat Georgia State at that. Okay. Thanks again for tuning in. We had a bunch of people tune in this time around, all the Troy fans. Really happy. Do appreciate the couple of comments that we did get. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Go over to Locked On Sunbelt, subscribe, Go over to Apple Podcast and Spotify. Can find it there as well. It's a big, big help. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Once again, Troy defeats Georgia Southern 77-61. You've been watching Locked On Sunbelt, the post-game show to the championship game. Have a great night, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.